So about a year ago, I built a couple of Optiplex gaming PCs for roughly around $250, and I know the market has just continually gotten worse, so I have a question. Can I build another $250 Optiplex gaming machine? Let's find out. The Optiplex gaming PCs hold a special place in my heart because I love budget gaming. I love taking old obsolete parts that people have thrown away and said they're no good anymore. And I just don't believe that, because I've shown time and time again that I can breathe new life and turn these into completely competent gaming machines. So here's the Optiplex I built for around $250 a year ago. The body is a Dell Optiplex 3010 featuring an i5-3450 CPU, a GTX 970, a 800 watt Corsair power supply, definitely overkill, but I'll explain why in a minute, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a 500 gigabyte SSD, and a 1 terabyte hard drive. Not bad at all. The ways that I acquired the parts for this were Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and my local e-waste recycling center, and that was the key. That was the little hidden gem that really got me some quality cheap parts. I think I paid around $70 for the tower itself, which had the OEM power supply, just the 1 terabyte hard drive, no graphics card obviously, so it was just a old standard workstation build that, has become obsolete. I strolled down to my local e-waste recycling center. If you're not sure if you have one around you, hop onto Google and search up electronic waste recycling, e-waste recycling, and then start calling those places. Now, a lot of places do not actually sell to the public. Some of them do. I know I might have got lucky in my area, and I've actually become kind of like friends with the guy, and I could text him or call him and say, hey, do you have parts? What do you got? Can I come take a look? Along those lines. So when I went to my e-waste recycling center, I was able to get the power supply for $15, a $15 or $20 500 gigabyte SSD that he tore out of like an old laptop, and then I got a whole handful of DDR3 RAM. Depending on the model of the Optiplex, some of them have 2 DIMM slots, some of them have 4 DIMM slots. So if they have 4, I like to fill them out with, roughly 16 to maybe even 32 gigabytes of RAM. In this particular model, there's only 2 DIMM slots, so I went with 2 8 gig sticks. So that leaves us with just the GPU left, and I was able to find on the used market, I think I got this one on Facebook, a GTX 970 4 gigabyte, the EVGA version, for I think $150. Is that still possible today? I'm not sure, so let's go browse the used market. I'm gonna see what's currently listed around in my local area. So I actually did find something pretty similar, a GTX 960, so one tier down for $175. I'm gonna keep that in mind and keep looking. So if you're from a small little town like me, there's a problem with the used market. There's just not a whole lot that is offered up out there. So another good option is eBay. For me, I actually got lucky. I was totally curious, and I'm not real sure what was out on the used market. I haven't really kept up with it in the last few weeks. So this is kind of promising. I think I could actually build something pretty close to what I have here performance-wise for roughly around the same price, even though prices overall for graphics cards and most PC components have gone up. So now I'm gonna look on eBay and see what the actual GTX 970 is going for and see if that would be an option for me as well. I highly doubt it's around the $150 price point like I bought off Facebook, but let's find out. So I've gone ahead and searched up the GTX 970 4 gigabyte. And if you didn't know, on eBay, you can actually scroll all the way down and click on sold items to see what the relative price is for items that you're looking for. So here we can see there's a bunch of 167, 168, somewhere around $200, which is actually way more promising than I thought it was gonna be. So that's actually pretty interesting. I thought a 970 would go for more money than that. If you can snag one of those that were the $167, $170 rather than the ones that sold for $200 or a little bit above, I think this is a solid opportunity for you to create a 1080p gaming machine for around $250, maybe $300. So if that interests you, let's break down how I would build a Optiplex gaming PC. So if you wanted to go ahead and try to do this yourself, you would have a rough idea on, the steps that you need to take. So step number 1 is actually acquiring the towers. So one of the best methods that I found is just look on Facebook and Craigslist. People somehow get a hold of these or have, seem to have them on hand quite often, and they get rid of them. So, they do fluctuate in price quite a bit, but shoot for anywhere from $80 to maybe $120. Look for the i5s. You can even get i7s, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th gen. I have another secret way. Call up your local schools, high schools, colleges, and see what they do with their old workstation computers. Sometimes they sell them off in bulk on auction websites. That's what they do locally to me. So I'm always bidding and trying to win a lot of like 10 for like 200, 250 bucks. It's an absolute steal, but sometimes they sell them individually as well. So just call around and see if they do sell them and then find out where they sell them. For some of the other parts, look at the e-waste recycling centers around you like I have. I'm able to find tested and working power supplies, DDR3 and DDR4 memory even, some graphics cards. I've got GeForce 8800 GTXs from like 10 years ago, all the way up to GTX 970. You might be asking, why does someone recycle a GTX 970 and just not sell it? That's a great question. He doesn't know either. Probably people who have a lot of money and just want to get rid of it and don't even want to deal with it. So once you have your power supply, anywhere from like a 400 watt to 600 watt, should be plenty enough power to power all the components that we have in these. It's not too power demanding. You're gonna wanna look at your model of motherboard. As you can see, I have two different models here. One of them has the 8-pin power connector and one of them has the 24-pin standard power connector. So there's no need to do anything on the one that uses the 24-pin, just take it from our consumer gaming power supply and plug it in there. But the 8-pin, you need an adapter from an 8 to a 24-pin, and those are pretty cheap. You can buy it on Amazon, roughly like $10, $12. And the reason we actually need to upgrade from the OEM power supply is because they're not that power efficient for one, but they also lack PCIe power connectors, so we will not be able to power up our graphics card. So if you actually decide to go with a graphics card that doesn't need external power and can get all the power it needs from the PCIe slot, I think it's up to like 75 watts, that might be wrong, but then you won't need to necessarily upgrade the power supply. But for me here, I either need one or two of the PCI power connectors, so I want to upgrade to a more reliable and something that can power up a stronger GPU. So these motherboards don't have the M.2 form factor for an SSD, so what I recommend is getting a like 1 terabyte hard drive or whatever it comes with. Maybe you needed some additional for a large mass storage game drive, and then putting the operating system on like a 250 or a 500 gigabyte 2.5-inch SSD. Slap it all in there and you have a more than capable 1080p gaming machine, something with an i5 4th gen and a 970 or a 1063 gigabyte here. They play all modern games at usually like 1080p, probably low, at like 60-ish FPS. So you can't beat that for $250. And I absolutely love building these things. I usually actually build these and then I sell them, make, about $100 to $150, and then I can invest that in other parts for the YouTube channel, TikTok, whatever, other PC content that I'm making. So overall, after looking at my current used market and just comparing prices to what I would have bought, a year ago roughly, I think it's doable. I could probably make something very similar to this right now for around $250, definitely under $300. So I might actually have to go out and buy the parts and try to make a build video, maybe like a little challenge to see what is the best performing PC I can make for the price and keep it under that $250, $300 price range. So I hope you guys entertain this idea for a build. It's not aesthetically pleasing, definitely not any RGB, it's got the solid side panel, but if you are on a budget and you want to game at 1080p 60 FPS, then this is definitely the option for you. That's it for this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe. I appreciate you guys checking it out. We'll see you in the next one.